Welcome to episode 24 of Arcadiology, where we dig up your favorite arcade relics. My name is Jordan Crothers, as I'm sure you guys have guessed by now, and I'm here with my three best friends in the world. Them Wigan boys, Mr. Brad Wigan.
What up?
Mr. Sky Wigan.
Hello?
That's all of them, right? There's no more?
I think that's it. All three of us.
All right, boys, how you... Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Kyle Wigan. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, dudes.
There he is. I would never forget you, man. You know I wouldn't. How's everybody feeling tonight, boys? I'm happy to be back here with you once again for the 24th time.
Yep, always excited for another recording.
Let's do this, boys.
Let's do this, boys. Go ahead and tell me, as always, what you playing?
I've been playing this game called Tinykin. You guys heard of this?
Always something I've
No.
never heard of, man.
Nope.
Yeah, that's the theme here. I always have to ask you. Just one of these times, you're gonna be like, "Oh, I heard of that one," but nope, not
We'll
tonight.
see.
It's called Tinykin. It came out in 2022, so it's not super old. It's very similar to Pikmin. It's like a puzzle platformer. It's more on the puzzle side. I feel like there's not like super crazy platforming or anything. But I don't know. It's kind of a relaxing game. You're like real small, like roughly like the size of an ant, like going through this house, and like each stage is a different room in the house. There's like 6 stages total, but you just got to like go around the different zones and explore the room and solve the little puzzles. But it's kind of like how Pikmin, you get like the little guys. There's like these each different color little blobs you collect, and they all have like different power ups. Same concept there, but I really just like the way that like the aesthetics of it and stuff. It's like I think it's set in like the 90s. There's like tube TVs around the house and stuff like that. I don't know, just like the visuals on there are awesome because you're like so small and there's like a lot of verticality to it. So you're like just constantly climbing and getting higher and higher. And like you're at like the top of the room, like on a ceiling fan spinning around. You can like look down at the giant room, and you like unlock these little zip lines like as you get up higher, so you can just like shoot across the map. I don't know, it's really fun. It's real smooth. The gameplay is nice. It's super forgiving. Like if you fall off of a ledge, you don't die. It'll just like appear you back up where you fell. So it's not stressful or anything. It's just kind of fun game to chill and play.
That sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It was probably, I think my total playtime was about like 8 hours. I did finish it, but I was also playing with Ezra because she likes to just mess around. Like instead of like a sprint, you have like he hops on like a little bar of soap and just starts like cruising across the ground. You can just like traverse pretty fast, and that's how you can hop on like those little zip lines on the bar of soap and just get cruising across. You can like grind the side of a desk and stuff with it. But yeah, it's cool. There's like each of the little, I guess they're just called Tinykin, like their version of the Pikmin. They have like different powers and stuff, so you got to use them, like figure out to solve the puzzles. Like one is like really strong, so it can lift stuff up. And I mean, it's kind of the fun of it is figuring out what the powers do. So I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone that's listening if they do want to check it out. But if you're or even remotely into Pikmin, definitely check it out because I've never finished a Pikmin game. I've played them all. I do like them, but I kind of get bored of them, and I hate how I have like a time limit, and you get kind of the day ends and your Pikmin and just like die if you don't collect them in time. It's just a little too many stressors on me there.
What system are you playing on?
I'm playing on my Steam Deck. It's on probably everything. I know it's on Switch and Steam though.
Yeah, I remember the Pikmin games. I also don't think I ever beat those either. So
Yeah.
I've never even played any.
it was just fun playing them. But yeah, it's the time limit stuff. I don't like that.
That's why I don't like Majora's Mask. It's just like the time limit's stressful.
Yeah, I really wanted to like that game, but I just sucked at it too much.
Me too, dude, because I love Ocarina, but nah,
I think
man.
I rented it like back in the day, and I just couldn't get any progress at all, and it just made me mad. I was like, man, this game's probably so awesome, but I'm terrible at it, and I can't figure
Right.
it out.
Right. What are you going to do?
Well, I've still been playing the first Descendant. I've definitely cooled off a little bit on it because I went like super hard when it first released, grinded it out. Now I have all of the Descendants in the game, which I think if you count like the regular versions and the ultimate versions, there's like 21 Descendants. So I have all 21 Descendants. I have like at least half, if not over half, of the legendary guns already made. So I have a couple more guns I gotta get. But other than that, I grinded like super hard. So now I'm kind of like, I hop on, like an hour or two, do a couple things, and then hop back off. So it's still cool, still interesting. They're still coming out with updates. So I'm kind of just cooling off a little bit until some updates come in.
So like daily challenges, you're just trying to keep up with those and stuff, or what?
To be honest, I've never even looked at what the challenges are. I just kind of like get them done as I'm playing. They just kind of happen. And I think like the battle pass, like I think my battle pass is already done, and there's still like a month left or something. So
Dang,
There's no
way
reason
ahead.
for me to even look around or care about that stuff.
So since you like cooled off on it, would you say now it's more like a second descendant?
Yeah, it's like a second or third descendant at this point.
I see.
Yeah, it's like a reserve descendant.
I've been playing a little classic game called Among Us lately.
Dude, I seen
Okay.
you playing that,
Never
and I
heard
was like, "There's no way he's actually playing that."
I just randomly got the urge to play it, man. I get this random games pop in my head sometimes. Like, you know what? It's been a long time since I played that game. I'm gonna jump back in.
Are you playing with random people, or you have anyone you know playing with you?
Nah, I just play with randoms. I just jump in lobbies and whatever happens, happens.
Is it still? I've never really played much with randoms. Is it fun just playing with randoms?
Obviously, you play with randoms. There's always most people don't think about stuff, so
Yeah.
you could be totally legit, and they're all like, "Yeah, he definitely did it," and you're like, "Yeah, definitely didn't do that." So that's what happens when you play with random people. But it was still fun to just jump back into it. I don't even know if the last time they updated it, but they have like different roles now that I don't remember from last time I played. There's like tracker where you can just you can tag like a random crewmate, and then you can bring your map up and watch them walk around and stuff, so you can see if they're telling the truth or not. What else? Engineers can like jump into vents, I guess, and like pop imposters out of there and stuff like that. There's a couple cool roles now.
Oh wow, that probably makes it kind of weird because if you see the engineer hop in the vent, you might say like that's the imposter or something. Does that kind of play into
Yeah,
it?
that happens a lot too. Like usually what I see people do is if you're an engineer, as soon as you spawn, you'll run down to the first vent in front of everybody and jump in real fast and jump out just to try to signal like, "Hey, I'm the engineer."
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not imposter because I wouldn't do that in front of the whole team. But as soon as that happens, somebody calls a meeting and says, "He vented,"
Yeah.
and then everyone votes him out. It's like, dude, obviously he did. He's trying to tell you he's an engineer.
Oh man, I can imagine.
Dude, 50% of the time it works.
I mean, you got to think the opposite then. If someone's trying to like super meta game it, they're like, well, I'm an imposter. If I do this right in front of everyone, they're gonna be like, he's definitely not the imposter. He's just an engineer, but you could actually just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's 50-50 whether it's an engineer trying to let you know, or maybe the imposter's trying to be so obvious about it that you would think, oh, why would the imposter do that in front of us? So it's kind of funny. Like, there's the new rules definitely switch it up a lot. Like, you got to think so much harder now to figure out who it is. They have like shapeshifters too. That's the one that gives me the hard time, is trying to pinpoint who the shapeshifter is.
I remember the last Nintendo Direct they did, they mentioned all of these updates. I've never actually played the game personally, but I do remember Nintendo saying, like, oh, Among Us, it's still a thing, and here's these new things that we're adding to it.
I can't believe that's a game you haven't hopped into at all, Jordan.
Yeah,
I have no interest in it.
dude, I played that
I
so
can't.
much.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't bullshit my way out of things. It stresses me out. It's the same reason I'm terrible at the game Werewolf. I just can't like bullshit. I just get
I
stressed.
just imagine Jordan's like, I did it.
No
Can't
one
take
says
all this
anything.
pressure.
Okay, you guys got me. You got me.
All right, you got it out of me.
We didn't even say anything to you yet. I know, but I just couldn't handle it.
Oh man, yeah, it was kind of fun just to jump back into that for a little bit. Every so often, I'll play a match of it.
Well, for me, it's really just the same answer as last episode. I'm too deep in my fantasy football stuff right now to do much else. I still play some Pokemon Platinum here and there, especially if I'm like in the car or something, just riding along. I'll bust out my phone and play that for a bit. But besides for that, one day here, one episode here, boys, I swear, I will have a good answer for this question. But today is not that day.
You should start playing Final Fantasy football.
Now you're just saying stuff to say stuff, Sky. Get out of here.
What, man? I thought you'd be into it.
Yeah, sure. You figure out what that is, and we'll make it a thing, man.
Show.
All right, boys. Anything else you want to toss out there?
Nope, all good.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All righty. If we're all ready to go, let us dig up some Punisher. The Punisher is a 1993 beat-em-up released by Capcom, starring the Marvel Comics anti-hero, The Punisher. Big surprise. The Punisher, formerly known as Frank Castle, is on a mission to kill the crime lord, the Kingpin, who is apparently a 12-foot tall, 973-pound man, as I've learned from this game. And along with standard combat, you also have a wide variety of weapons you can pick up and use, as well as bombs. And I know Kyle just asked us about 30 minutes ago, hey guys, how do you use bombs? So we'll get that a little bit later. So who here is familiar with the Punisher? Because I personally am not. I've never really dove too deep into Marvel stuff, so none of this is anything I'm super familiar with. Anybody else, by any chance?
Not much. Yeah, I don't really know much about him. I feel like I might have watched one of the movies a long time ago, but I don't even remember it. So yeah, I don't got much for this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just kind of know the basics of, I mean, who he is, like what his actual name was, kind of what he does, what he's about. But like, I mean, I guess to my understanding, he's like Batman, but doesn't have the, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't have a problem with like killing people. Is kind of my take on the Punisher.
Yeah, like Brad, I watched like a movie a long time ago. I think the only thing I remember was him fighting some Russian dude, and it was a crazy fight scene. I think they were like bashing their way through like a building or something, just breaking everything. So that's all I remember.
All I really ever know is the logo, that skull logo that he wears on his chest. Besides for that, I am not too familiar at all. Now, the reason, despite, of course, none of us being familiar with him, the reason we're doing this game right now is because I think, Brad, you know a little bit more about this because this was your idea, but I believe they just announced that they're re-releasing it for the Switch soon, correct?
Yeah, I think it might be coming to PlayStation as well, but it's in a collection. It's like the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, I believe, and they're throwing this in there with it. So yeah, this is going to be like the first time this game has been re-released in like 20 years or something. So kind of cool.
Jeez.
Cool. So I'm not going to go as hard with this as I did with Dead Connection, but there is a little bit of story that we can read here. I'm not going to read all the story that's in between the stages, but what I will do is at least read the story at the start and at the end of the game, just to kind of give everybody a little background of what this game's about. So unless you guys have anything you want to say now, I'll kind of just hop into this beginning story here.
Story time, let's go.
Story time again. Unfortunately, probably not going to do any crazy voices this time for you. I'm very sorry. I'm sure that disappoints Sky very much, but no Stone Cold this time, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go to bed then.
All right, we'll see you, man. All right. Maybe I'll just do my best little narrator voice here. So it opens, New York, a jungle of steel and concrete, where predators of all kinds mercilessly prey on all, anytime, anywhere. Central Park, an oasis of green, offering respite from the gray. Here, U.S. Marine Captain Frank Castle enjoys a picnic with his family. On that day, the Castle family accidentally discovered a brutal mob killing. Fearing any witnesses, the killers gunned down the hapless family. On that day, Frank Castle's family died. On that day, Frank Castle died. On that day, I was born. To avenge them and all others like them, I am the Punisher. If you're guilty, you're dead. So anyway, we're going to hop right on into stage 1. The stage begins with the Punisher breaking into a bar and then continuing out into the town whenever one of the henchmen spot you. Stage 2, you get information that the one henchman you're looking for is in a castle, and you break into that castle using the drain pipe of a swimming pool. The third stage is a factory on the harbor. Then you got a nice little bonus stage after that, which is very reminiscent of Street Fighter, where you're just shooting barrels. I enjoyed that because I was a Street Fighter kid growing up. Stage 4 takes place in an underground cave in Arizona, which I thought we were in New York, so I don't know how we got to Arizona all of a sudden, but okay, that's fine. Stage 5 begins. It looks like I'm assuming this is the Punisher's underground hideout where you're starting. And Kingpin's sending his lackeys to come and find and kill you. He's kind of sick of your bullshit at this point. And then stage 6, Punisher just shoots Kingpin's little Trump Tower kind of thing he has going on with a rocket launcher and breaks on in to finish the job here. So if there's any stages you guys want to talk about, any bosses you guys want to talk about, I'm all ears. Let me hear what kind of thoughts you have.
Wait, hold on. I'm thinking stage 2. Am I dumb or do swimming pools not have drain pipes?
I don't recall like a pipe that somebody could just swim
Certainly
through.
not big enough to swim through.
I don't know. They had to figure some way for him to get in.
How else you get into the bad guy's hideout, man?
Right? What are you gonna do? Jump over the wall? Boring.
There goes my plans of getting a swimming pool. I don't want the Punisher to come swimming through it.
Especially if you're guilty, you're just straight up dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're guilty, you're dead.
That's kind of harsh.
That's his thing.
Well, that's my take on stage 2.
I forgot to pay for my bubblegum. Dead.
I like how a lot of like the in between, like it's still within the stage, but like transition to like a different part of the room. I feel like you're just always kicking through a window. Like that's how he gets into like every building, it seems like. Or as like a bus, I think in stage 1 he just kicks through the window of the back of the bus. He's just always kicking through a window, I guess.
Yeah, I did like that. I like the map traversal of like it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like you're stuck on one stage, like one like scenery for too long. You kind of kill like a handful of guys, and you kick through a window, drop through a floor, jump through a vent, swim through a pool or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in stage 1, you're like on a car or something, and the car crashes into the back of this bus where the boss Scully is.
I thought it was funny in stage 1. There's you walk past like there's a dog in the corner barking. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Very Boogie Wings-esque.
Yeah, but like the dog looks like a cat to me. Am I the only one that thinks it looks like a cat?
Okay. You thought the wolf in Altered Beast was a pig, too, so
I
I
did.
don't take anything you say seriously.
All right, well then look up a picture and see if you take me seriously.
All right, whatever. We'll put that on Instagram and get some opinions.
I mean, I'm looking at him now, and he definitely has cat ears.
Come on. It's like a cat face on a dog body.
I don't recall what he looks like very much, but I'll just take your word for it, man.
I just thought it was funny looking. It's like a giant looking cat, but it's barking.
There's also just like throughout, there's like tons of destructibles. Kind of like, what else have we played? I feel like there was a lot of things you can break and stuff. Was that,
Dead Connection.
Dead Connection, yeah. So there's kind of like that. There's so many like barrels and different things you can smash, and they all always seem to drop something, whether it's like weapons or health and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always just smashing stuff here too.
Speaking of Dead Connections, one of my favorite enemies in this game are the gangsters wearing very colorful suits who very clearly just came over from Dead Connection.
That might be one of the guys that took Andy out.
Oh no.
Oh no.
If that's his name, I don't even remember. I like them, and I also like the Timu versions of Ryu and Ken that you seem to fight a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They seem to be one of the harder like basic enemies that were a little more aggressive. I felt like if you didn't hit them quick, they would get you.
Yeah, I guess they have decent health too. I mean, I preferred fighting them over the little ninja girls though. There's way worse than that too, but
They like teleport around.
Yeah, I didn't think they were
Hit you
too
when you're
bad.
not
They
looking.
were a little annoying, but yeah, they pretty much just teleport away. There's a puff of smoke. You can usually get them before they can attack you if you catch them.
I think the really bad ones were the enemies that were called Pretty Boys, which were essentially just like the robots with like human heads.
Yeah.
If you guys remember those,
Oh
Ah,
yeah.
yeah.
they were rough. They had a lot of health. They could attack you from range. Parts of their body would explode if you left them behind and didn't notice that. That could be kind of rough.
Yeah, you pretty much had to stay off the same plane as them. If you're just like standing in a straight line in front of them, they like extend their arm out and grab you and slam you. So I kind of had to like hit them, kind of like the classic beat 'em up game attacking. I think Kyle said pretty much he used it on all the bosses and turtles. You just kind of stay like a little bit above or below them and keep on like inching up and down as
Yeah.
you punch. That seemed to be the way to kind of avoid them from smashing you all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the good things about this game is that there is like a decent difference between the enemies. Like you're not just fighting the exact same enemy over and over again. Sometimes you got the guy who will chuck a knife at you across the screen. You got your weird kung fu Ryu Ken guys, the ninja girls. I think there's a guy who's named like Gus or something. He's pretty much like the tank. He has a ton of HP. So there actually is a pretty good variance of enemies here. You're not just doing the same thing over and over again, which is pretty nice.
You got the cyberpunk flamethrower guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the flamethrower, and that's another thing. So enemies that have weapons, whenever you defeat them, they'll drop the weapon. There's a lot of weapons you can pick up, either, as Brad said, inside of crates, or enemies can have them after you kill the enemy. You can pick up their weapons. Man, every time I saw that guy with the flamethrower, I would immediately try to take him out so I could take that flamethrower because it was so satisfying to use.
Yeah, they had a lot of weapon variety and like density. Like you just kind of had a weapon a lot of the time, and then sometimes like, actually, I think it was most of the time when any enemies appeared on the screen that already had guns in their hands, it just gave you a pistol.
Yes. And that was nice because the handgun, it never runs out of ammo. So as long as as Kyle said, that's the only time you can ever use it. If there's another enemy that uses guns on the screen, or I think robots count as well. But it's very satisfying to then just go to the side of the screen, face the enemies, and just unload because it never runs out of ammo. It pretty much auto locks on. You just mash the attack button and you're just wiping the screen clean.
Yeah, plus he has like a really cool animation, I thought. Like if you are like sort of in the middle and you have to shoot guys on the left and the right, as you like aim back and forth, like he does like a cool little like spin around. There's actually like a decent looking animation.
Honestly, I think everything about this game looks great. I think visually it's one of my favorite games we've done by far.
Yeah, I agree. It looks great.
I'll always give props to pixel art.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It looks so solid for such an old game.
I thought it was weird though, like when you get the gun, like after you lose it, you kill some of the guys and they drop their guns on the ground. So I thought I could pick them up and keep shooting, but they just give you points.
Yep. There were some guns you could, like the machine guns you could pick up and use, but besides for that, the handguns on the ground, yeah, they're just strictly for points.
Yeah, I think there was like an Uzi and a rifle that they had like a limited amount of bullets. It wasn't like the unlimited pistol you get, but when you pick those up, it has like an ammo counter on the bottom left, and you can shoot it till it's gone. But yeah, those ones didn't last long.
And that's the case for every weapon too. All the weapons have a certain durability that you can see at the bottom of the screen. It says how many bullets or how many times you can attack with it you have remaining. So you know if you're about to run out, maybe you have a weapon that has like one attack left in it. You can just drop that and pick up another one to replace it. So that was kind of nice that you knew. First of all, it was nice that it didn't just last forever because that would be dumb. But it was nice that you knew when it was going to run out.
Yeah, in beat 'em ups, I feel like when they have the weapons, they'll just kind of randomly disappear. You don't know when it's going to go or why it's going to disappear. It'll just be gone all of a sudden. But this is cool. You can actually track it down there. And then if you jump and attack, you can throw it too. I don't know if you guys did that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was annoying sometimes. I mean, it's nice if you want to get a ranged attack in, but at the same time, I would do that on accident more often than not because I would kind of just want to do a normal jump attack or just jump in general and just bump the attack button and then the weapons getting chucked across the screen on accident.
Did you guys ever like juggle the weapons to like get them to the next area?
Well, they keep dropping and picking up the next one and moving them to the next screen.
Yeah, because like if you go like too far past the screen, right, they get like locked out behind you. So if I had like 2 or 3 weapons that had high durability, I would just keep picking one up, and then it would like throw it in front of you, and then you'd pick that one back up and throw the next weapon in front of you, so you could like juggle them to the next area.
Look at this guy metagaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about something like that.
I usually do it with like the barrels. I'd throw them like to the edge of the screen where the screen's going to shift to. If there are like a couple barrels, I'd throw them all so like the items are closer to where I'm going.
I think he was thinking of Halo 3 there, just flag taken, flag
dude,
dropped,
exactly.
flag taken. The whole way across the level.
I didn't do it like, with every weapon, but if there was like a good weapon I liked and mine was about to run out in like 2 or 3 more hits, then I'd juggle the new one with me.
Yeah, the one thing about when you're holding weapons, whenever one of the guys, like we were saying, comes on the screen with a gun, and you can use a gun as well, if you're holding a weapon, you don't get to use the gun, so you have to jump up, throw that, and then you can start shooting. So that was kind of annoying, I thought. I mean, I don't really know a better way around it, but I'd get shot a couple times, like trying to shoot. I'm like, why am I not shooting? It's like, because you're holding like a baseball bat or something, so you got to toss that, and then you get your unlimited ammo again.
As nice as it is having weapons, it can get really annoying just how many there are on the screen at times. Because, I mean, there could be legitimately 5, 6, 7 weapons sitting on the ground. And sometimes I'm just trying to punch a dude or shoot or something. And then you it's the same button to attack that it is to pick up an item. So maybe I'm just trying to punch or shoot, and then I get too close to an item, he picks it up. Or I have an item I want, I get too close to another one, he picks that up. So I'd say maybe a fewer items on the screen would be nice, but still, it is good to have them.
I thought the lance was pretty sick. Did you guys get that?
Oh yeah, that thing was gnarly.
Not until pretty late.
Yeah, they were kind of in weird spots. I think there was one, like, there was like a knight holding it, when you break that and he drops it. But yeah, it pierces through. Like, if there's like a whole crowd of enemies in front of you, it'll hit every single one of them on the way through. So that was one of the more fun weapons to throw.
Can you keep a hold of that thing, or do you have to throw it?
I think it's a ranged only. As soon as you attack, it seems to throw it.
I picked that up. I was like, yes, man, I'm going to run around with the lance.
Yeah.
Right.
And I get one attack with it and throw it, and it's gone. I'm like, I want that again.
I mean, you could pick it back up, but you had to go find where it hit.
Yeah.
And the boomerang was pretty cool. That actually functioned like a boomerang. If you throw it and it goes off the screen, it'll come back in and hit enemies on the way back through.
Yeah, but you got to stay lined up with it if you want to catch it again. If you move up or down, then it will kind of just go past you then. So you got to kind of make sure you stay lined up if you want to keep on using it.
Yeah, I just like tossed it and just like left, and it would like go off the screen. It would come back. It wouldn't let me catch it because I wasn't standing there, but it would hit the enemies behind me on the other side. So it was still kind of cool. There's so much variety with the weapons on here. It definitely switched up the gameplay a bit.
So one of the stages I want to talk about is stage 4. That's the one where suddenly we teleported from New York to Arizona, and we're in some kind of underground cave with a train in it. So the stage was a little more frustrating than the others, I'd say, because a lot of it takes place on a train, and the area that you can walk on is really small. And there's also a lot of enemies that are coming out at that time. So this was one of the few times where I would use my bombs for just the standard enemies. I would typically try to save them for bosses, but for this stage, the bomb was just so helpful because the enemies were so crowded in this little tiny area that you're walking on. And then you also have to be careful because there's a lot of pieces on the stage that will actually go boom boom if you hit them. So, I mean, they'll kind of glow for a second, so you know you got to get out of the way. But if you hit them on accident, then you got to be careful and get out of there before it explodes on you. And then also, there's another conveyor belt. Sky's favorite thing. I know Sky loves conveyor belts in these games.
Oh yeah, I love conveying stuff.
Yeah, that stage, yeah, that's more annoying aspects to it.
Yeah, I don't remember it being any more annoying than the other stages, but I also still didn't know how to use the bomb during this stage, so I just fought my way through it.
Yeah, I feel like the bomb should have been its own button.
Yeah, I agree. But where were you at in the game whenever you realized how to use the bombs?
I think it was whatever boss is right before the last boss, right before Kingpin. I don't know if it was the guard 2
That's
or
rough.
whatever.
Yeah, like the red robot.
Yeah.
These don't stack forever either. Whenever you respawn, you immediately go back to 4, I believe, which can be helpful because I would try to take advantage of that. And if I was very low on health, about to die, I'd use up all the bombs on all the enemies on the screen. But yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing if you could stack them up like we could in what was it, Escape from the Planet of the Human People Eaters or whatever. And me and Kyle had like 97 bombs, and we're like, how the hell do we use
Yeah.
these things? But in this one, nah, you respawn. I think you immediately go back to 4.
Yeah, I try to conserve them.
The way you use them was kind of annoying too. Yeah, it's nice to conserve them for the bosses. That's typically what I would try to do. So from what I've seen, I only found 2 separate ways to use the bombs. And one is you have to jump in the air and then press the jump and attack button together. It's very odd. I know a lot of these games will do bombs, press 2 buttons at once, but this one you have to jump first and then double press the buttons. And the other way is by using your special attack if you're low on hit points. So your special attack will attack all enemies around you, but it takes a little bit of your HP. If your HP is at essentially 0 when you hit the special attack button, he'll throw a grenade and then dive across the screen to hide from it. So those are the only 2 ways I've found to use the bombs.
I didn't know about that second one. I just only use it with a jump and then jump and attack to do it.
I guess it's just their way of giving you some kind of special attack to still do, even though you don't have the health to do your normal one.
Right.
Of course, you still need the bombs to do it. I don't necessarily know what he does if he's out of bombs at that point. But we're talking about that. Do you guys want to talk about the combat itself? I mean, I feel like this game was a really fun one to do. I mean, the combat isn't super crazy. I think there's only 2 buttons for the console, so you don't have to do any kind of weird button combinations, but there are a variety of attacks he can do. I know he can do like jumping kicks. He has a special attack he can do that I mentioned. I think he can do like a roll forward. What else is there? One of my favorite things is if you're attacking an enemy up close, he'll just grab them and you can chuck them across the stage and actually hit other enemies with that one. That's always fun to do. Is there anything I'm not thinking of that you guys took advantage of a lot, or?
There was he did like a crescent kick if you did like a full circle and attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the only other thing I found though, other than what you already said.
Yeah, I would do that on accident sometimes. Like I'd be attacking in front of me, and I'd like spin around to attack the guy behind me, and I would just spin the stick and hit it, and he has like a little blue like effect behind his foot as he's doing it, so you can tell it's like a little special move.
I mean, he's got his jump kick.
Jump kicks, goddamn.
He's got his Johnny Cage, right? He slides across the screen with his sidekick.
Actually, one of my favorite attacks that I forgot to mention, if you grab an enemy and then press the special attack button, he'll grab the enemy by their feet and spin them around in a circle, hitting anything around you.
I did that on accident. I don't know. I was like, how did I just grab this guy and just start doing it like a windmill?
You can also do his dodge roll in like all 4 directions. So you could like roll forward, backwards, up or down.
I didn't know you could do it up and down.
Yep. You just double tap whatever direction.
Dude, the roll was so good. There was like so much movement with it too. You could like double tap forward and then hold it up as you're rolling forward. You can like change the direction, go up, like go down a little bit. So it was so good to like get across the stage and get away from enemies. That made the movement feel so good because how fluid you could do with that roll.
Yeah, and then you could perform like a kick at the end of it.
Yeah, for only having 2 buttons in the control stick, I feel like there's a good bit that you can do as far as combat goes in this game. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the combat felt so good. Like, it made you feel like you were the Punisher, dude. You were just smashing. You could have, like, 8 people in front of you, and you just, like, smash them all in one combo, and they're all just dead.
You were kicking butt, dude. Like, this was one of the most satisfying games I've ever played as far as just button mashing. Just walking up to a group of enemies and smashing the attack button over and over again, and he was going ham and just taking these dudes out. It felt super satisfying.
Yeah, the attacks came out so fast, so you could almost, like, immediately just like if someone behind you, you're not like locked into your attack. So you're punching in front of you, turn around, you hit the guy behind you, and you go back and forth. So for a beat 'em up, that felt awesome because some beat 'em ups are so sluggish that it's like you're just going so slow and everything's moving at like a ridiculously slow pace. But this felt pretty fast for a beat 'em up. I loved it.
I was surprised at how like your punch speed is just how fast you can mash the button pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I was sitting there, I was like, dude, I'm like spamming it. I'm like, there's no way I'm punching like I'm getting like 6 punches a second here. I'm like, there's no way I'm actually doing that. These dudes walk in front of me, was like, brah, 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 brah. I'm like, wow, I can actually spam that. And most of the games, like, I don't know, you hit the button or whatever and punch, and it's locked into like a 1.5 second animation or something like that. But this is just like as fast as you can mash it.
Yeah, this one is not one of those slow games. It's pretty satisfying.
I thought I had turbo on it first. I had to double check. I was like, nope, that's legit.
Also, did nobody else notice the Punisher has massive calves? They're like
Dude
the size
does
of
not
cantaloupes,
skip
dude.
leg day.
Giant.
Dude, he's like the leg version of Popeye.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying about the graphics and stuff. I like how it's like comic booky. Like you're hitting them, it says like bam, kablam. I don't know exactly what it says. It comes up real fast, but it has like little words when you punch them and stuff. That was cool.
It's easy to overlook, but I did kind of notice that. Yeah, I don't know. I just think the Punisher himself looks super cool. I love like that metallic blue color of his outfit, his like little angry face he has when he walks around. I think he looks awesome. Any other stage aspects you guys want to talk about? Any stages you guys really liked or disliked?
It might have been the last stage. You're on top of like an elevator and it's going up. Yeah, most of the section you can use a gun. And then there's also a bunch of like dynamite sticks that keep falling down. So I went the whole way to like the right so no one can get behind you. And like these dynamites just keep falling down out of the sky and they start flashing like they're about to explode. But you can pick them up and throw them. So you could just stand back there, spam and shoot all the enemies that are coming at you. Then you just like throw like the 1 or 2 dynamites that are in front of you so they don't hit you. And they blow up all the enemies on the other side. I think that was a pretty fun section.
Yeah, I didn't really ever throw the dynamite. I more so just found the spot I could stand at safely.
I think it did some pretty good damage. So whenever they had the screen kind of clear, I'd hurry up and grab one and toss it so the next group of enemies would get hit by it.
Yeah, thankfully it does hit the enemies too, even if you don't throw it, if they just kind of walk into it.
It's just like a minefield. There's so many of them that just keep dropping and blowing up.
You're also fighting a guy who's like kind of mini boss like named Jigsaw, I believe. Whenever you're doing that elevator part.
Yeah, I almost felt like I was like exploiting during that phase. I was like, this is like a mini boss guy and he can't even get to me. I just keep throwing bombs at him.
Yeah, I really didn't even notice he was anything more than like a regular enemy. I thought he was just a tougher guy. I just kept, same thing Kyle said, just keep throwing stuff at him and he never really even touches you.
He has a lot of health, and I feel like that might be the only time, I'm almost positive that's the only time in the game you see him. So in my mind, he's kind of mini boss-esque.
Yeah, makes sense.
One thing I forgot about stage 1, I like how when you beat the boss, grab him up by his neck or whatever, and you're like, where's Kingpin at? And he just, immediately the guy just folds him.
Yeah.
He just, he just goes, please don't kill me, he's in Florida. He just gave it up immediately. He just straight up tells you.
Why do we go to so many states?
I'm pretty sure you kill him anyways right after that.
Probably.
Yeah, he says, all right, thank you, and goodbye, and shoots him.
Hey, at least you thank him, though. That was kind of nice.
But here's my question. So in stage 6, the final stage, you pretty much fight every enemy that you see in that game over again, including him. Scully is the name of that first boss. He shows up
Okay.
again. Now, we shot him. We point blank shot him. Is this the same Scully, or is this just some dude who looks like him and took his name? Or did they even just bring him back to life? Like, maybe modified him somehow or something. I don't know.
Maybe he wasn't 100% guilty at first, so you couldn't kill him.
Oh, that's it.
Then the second time you meet him, he's definitely guilty.
You're so smart.
The jury was still out.
The first time you fight him, he's wearing a blue jacket. The second time, he's wearing a black jacket. So now he's definitely a bad guy.
That
Yeah.
changes everything.
So it was
all dark and mysterious.
It was a crime of fashion.
Definitely guilty.
Oh my god. It's a crime of fashion and you're guilty. Punisher now!
All right, speaking of bosses, what bosses stood out to you guys?
The big tank.
Yes, but Brad, what were you
I was
saying?
gonna say the stage 4 boss. He really whacked my bush, you know. The bushwhacker, you know him, right?
Mr. Bushwhacker.
Oh man, is he hanging out with Captain Rock Hardy or
He
whatever?
must
Too?
be.
Oh, he'll give him a run for his money.
Yes. So just let me clarify for all the listeners out here: this man's name is Bushwhacker. So this is not Brad just being a weirdo.
Yeah, I don't know. He was kind of a cool boss, though.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy because he very much just looks like a normal human, but every now and then his arm will just turn into a gigantic flesh gun for some reason.
Yeah.
It's out of nowhere, his arm just gets rock hardy.
Oh my god, here we go.
Crazy looking.
I mean, as we said, we're not really familiar with like the Punisher and Marvel stuff, so maybe this is like a character that's common in the Punisher. I don't know, but that was the little arm gun was interesting to me.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be anything like out of the ordinary. I mean, I guess the tank guy, but I mean, most of this guy enemies are like humans with guns and bats and stuff, and then this guy can just turn his arm into a flesh gun. I don't know. It was weird.
It didn't make any sense.
Sky, you mentioned him. Tell us a little bit about the tank guy.
At first I saw that dude, I was like, he is way too big to be inside that tank. Then I realized, oh, he's part of the tank. He
Just is the tank.
He actually
this
just
guy-
is a tank.
This guy, Bonebreaker, he is literally half man, half. He's what's it called? Like a centaur or whatever, but it's a man tank.
He's a Sentank.
Sentank.
He's a Sentank.
I was like, man,
It is
Kingpin.
interesting.
All that money Kingpin got, he's skimping. He couldn't get him a bigger tank.
Also, doesn't he say something weird whenever you encounter him, like bathe in your own blood or something goofy like that?
I don't remember.
I
I'm not sure what
skipped
he
through
said.
most of the dialogue.
That's fair. That was actually a nice thing about this game, especially when I was playing through it the second time and wanted to get through it quicker. If you held in the attack button, it would speed up through the dialogue and the cutscenes. I don't know if you guys took advantage of that, but I noticed it during my second playthrough.
Yeah, I blasted right through those most of the time.
Heck yeah.
You can do it in the credits as well.
I'm watching the video. He says, "Die in your own blood, baby."
There it is.
He calls you baby, so.
He looks like the kind of guy that would call you baby.
Yeah.
I mean, who
for
else's
sure.
blood am I going to die in, though? Don't you always just die in your own blood?
I mean, maybe his. Does he have blood? Does he have like tank oil blood or something? I don't know. What other bosses, boys? Are those the only ones that really stood out to you?
I mean, the other two were like the same, right? Just different colors. The robot guys.
Yeah, so the Guardroid is what they were called. This seems to be kind of a fairly common theme amongst these arcade games where you'll fight a boss early in the game and then you'll fight just a beefed up version of that exact same boss later in the game. So I believe it's Stage 2 has Guardroid and Stage 5 has Guardroid 2, which is same thing, just a little bit tougher.
I don't even remember if he was tougher. Do they actually have different moves?
I gotta be honest, I don't 100% remember, but I think maybe he had more HP, hit harder. I don't remember for sure, but I mean, he had to have been tougher, right?
You would think.
You would assume, but I
Yeah.
think the moves were the same.
His moveset seemed identical. Yeah, I don't know if he was stronger. They beefed his stats up, but yeah, the patterns seemed the same. He just like uses his laser, tries to shoot you, tries to kick you, and tries to jump on you.
Oh my god, I just realized I'm watching the Bonebreaker fight again, the tank guy, and if you look at his face closely, he kind of looks like Beavis if he was like 50 years old.
What the hell?
Look at his big like cheesy grin. It's the exact face that Beavis always makes.
Sounds like something Beavis might say, too, actually.
Do it. You probably do the voice better than me.
Die in your own blood, baby.
So that's what happened to him in the future.
I wonder where Butthead was.
Oh, which enemy would he have been?
He might have been in the tank, just hiding. I don't know.
Or maybe he was one of the pretty boys.
Oh man.
I just picture that sound every time the pretty boys come down from the top of the screen now. Just in the distance, it gets louder and louder as it gets closer.
He just leads an army of pretty boys. Kill him, boys. Shoot the Punisher, dillweed. All right, we're done. We're done.
Oh my god.
I had to get one in there. We're done.
I just want to watch the show again now. All right. What bosses are we missing? Are there any other? I mean, we'll get to the final boss here in a bit. Are there any other basic ones? I think we pretty much talked about all of them, right?
Yeah, I think we covered them.
Both the Guardroids, Bushwhacker. All right. Do you guys want to talk about the final boss then? The Kingpin himself?
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. Oh, Lord, he coming. He takes up half that damn screen.
He didn't seem that hard.
Dude, no, he was not.
He didn't seem to like do a whole lot.
Oh, crap. What's the word you guys always use for whenever you trap somebody and just freaking spam them?
Stunlock.
Stunlock. Dude, I stunlocked the hell out of this dude. So I used like a bomb once or twice to get him into the corner of the room. Then all I had to do was just stand there and keep spamming my special attack over and over again. And then even once I ran out of HP to do my special attack, it just did the bombs instead. And then he died. Like, he hit me like once or twice at the beginning when I was trying to get him over to the corner. But once I got him there, that was it. I just spammed that special attack as fast as possible. Bam, game over. He's done.
What is Kingpin's actual power? I thought he had like an actual... He's not just like some normal dude, right?
I think he's like a mob boss kind of guy.
I thought he had some kind of power.
He's just 9 feet tall.
Yeah. I don't know if he has an actual power. The Punisher mostly just focuses on like street level crime and stuff, I think. I don't think he's fighting like supernatural guys other than the Bushwhacker, I guess. I don't know though.
The Bone Breaker or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, his special power is that he weighs 1,000 pounds. He's the tank unit of the game. I think at one point he like damaged me with his cigarette smoke though, so maybe that's it. Maybe he controls his cigarettes to attack.
The weird part is though that Kingpin's like 9'3" or 1,000 pounds, but Punisher can still pick him up and throw him.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Punisher can do anything he wants.
The animation for that looked pretty cool when he picks him up. It looks like he's struggling. I don't know if it's changed, but just the way it is with how big he is, it looks like you're like struggling to pick him up. He like crouches down and like he has to like stand up after he gets him, and you just toss him across the room. It looks funny.
I like after you beat him, Nick Fury jumps down and says, "Hey man, we gotta get out of here." After you're leaving, he just goes, what's he say? He says, "Good night, fat boy." He just straight up says, "Good night, fat boy." Throws a grenade on him and bounces.
Well, yeah, that's about how it ends. You beat him, the tower starts going down. I'll ask now, do you guys have any other parts of this game you want to talk about? Any combat, bosses, stages, enemies, anything you want to talk about before I get to the end story here?
Wait, I'm just not realizing you can suplex someone.
Ooh.
Dude, any game where you can suplex people, I'm all about it.
Like you do the pickup animation, and then instead of throwing them, you jump first and then attack. This guy just suplexed Kingpin for the finisher.
Oh, what a way to go out.
Tell me it's a German.
It jumps up in the air and comes down like vertically and smashes. I've done it a couple times. I didn't really know how I was doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, isn't it like a pile driver? I think I saw him do a
Yeah.
pile driver. Okay, there we go. That's sick. That's what broke Stone Cold's neck, man. Be careful, Punisher.
Oof.
Yeah, I think I did see someone on the video do a pile driver, but I didn't do that myself.
Punisher about to be in the next WrestleFest.
Dude, you'd probably play it then if he was, wouldn't you?
I might check it out.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Dude, he hits him with a pile driver and does like a triple front flip to land it somehow.
Do the Marines teach you these things?
I guess so.
Damn, dude, I should join. To any recruiters out there listening, I'm not actually joining. I'm sorry, don't listen to me.
I'm curious on the bonus stage. Did you guys get all 20 barrels?
No, I got 19.
I got 17 both times.
I got them all.
Ah, man, Sky's the only one. I also got 19 both times, or all 3 times.
17 every time, man.
At first I was trying to conserve ammo, then I realized you don't run out, so I just started spamming everywhere. I thought I had like a limited amount of shots for it.
No. The way the bonus round works, as I said, it's very Street Fighter-esque. So you have 20 barrels that fall from the top of the screen, typically like anywhere from 1 to 3 at a time. And you have your handgun, but unlike the normal combat, it doesn't auto-lock on. You're actually using the control stick to aim the handgun. There's a little reticle or whatever on the screen. And yeah, typically whenever it would drop like 3 at a time, I'd always miss one. Both times I played, I got 17.
I always miss one right near the end. There was like one kind of just barely going off the screen. I try to get it, and you got the way to the edge, and I try to get the aimer kind of moves slow, so I try to chase the other one off the left side of the screen, and it would just sneak off. It's like, damn it, never get that last one.
If the reward for it was better, I'm sure that would be disappointing, but I believe it's just points.
Yeah.
Did you guys keep track of your points at the end of the game? Because I did for this one.
Nope.
I mean, I know we don't count those, but just for fun, I just typed it down.
No, I didn't.
I think I have mine. I usually just screenshot the ending screen, so I probably have it on there.
All right, boys, what else you got? Do you want me to get to the story, wrap it up, or do you want to talk about anything else?
Wrap it up, dude. Kingpin's over.
Kingpin's done, dude.
Later, fat boy.
12-foot, dig a 12-foot grave for this giant dude.
Oh my god.
Here we go, the ending story. As the Kingpin faced his final defeat at the Punisher's hands, the King building, its support structure badly damaged, collapsed, its dying echo reverberating through the city like the anguished roar of an exorcised demon. Thanks, Edgar Allan Poe, jeez. With his defeat and the King building's collapse, the Kingpin's empire's sin began to disintegrate. Without his powerful guiding hand, it soon tore itself apart. But for the Punisher, while the battle has been won, the war goes on. For him, there is no rest from the war until there is no evil, spelled E-V-E-L, thank you Capcom, left on the earth to fight. An impossible task? Perhaps. Is it his fate to fight a never-ending war? A war he can never really win? It doesn't matter, for he is a man who has accepted his fate, a man unable to escape his cruel destiny. That night, the Punisher vanished into the dark, melting back into the shadows to stalk his prey. And the predators of New York shudder, knowing that they now are being hunted. The next morning, the police searched through the rubble of the King building. They found over 291 ex-criminals, but they could not find any body that could be identified as the Kingpin. I'd imagine that would be very easy to point out which one was his if they could find it.
Mm-hmm.
Be hard to miss.
Vengeance burns eternal. The end. That's it, boys.
So the Kingpin's still out there.
Dude, how did that fat fucker get out of there? I don't understand that. No way, dude.
I mean, Punisher threw a grenade directly on top of him and left.
True.
No way that dude can move any faster than a slow walk. So does that mean there's gonna be? Wait, was never a sequel to this, was there?
I don't believe, as far as an arcade game. I'm sure there were other games.
Yeah. So who knows, boys? Kingpin's out there doing Kingpin stuff somewhere. Good movie, by the way, Kingpin. You guys never seen that one. But nothing to do with what we're talking about here. So anything you guys want to talk about here before we jump into the last few segments of the show?
I'm ready for trivia.
Well, let Brad do his thing first.
I want trivia.
Nope, gotta wait. Sky, what about you?
Whatever you want, fat boy.
All right, Brad, just do some numbers already.
All
Shut
right.
these guys up. Jeez.
One other thing I wanted to say real quick is just for like co-op, the second player plays as Nick Fury, and for like there's like dialogue in between like the stages and stuff. It was kind of cool that whenever it's just a Punisher, he says his lines, but whenever you're playing two-player, there's like additional dialogue for Nick Fury talking, which is kind of cool.
That's neat.
Is Nick Fury the character played by Samuel L. Jackson in the movies?
Yes.
Yep.
I thought so. Okay. I thought
Looks
so.
a little different here, I know.
Maybe a little bit.
It's before they, I guess, cemented him as Samuel L. Jackson in the movie.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into the numbers then.
Let's do it.
We will start off with our credit usage. How many credits did it take us each to finish this game? Kyle, you want to kick it off?
This one took me 15.
And you were in and out, one and done, barely made it before the recording?
Barely made it.
Almost no bombs to be used.
Couple bombs were used.
Sky, what about you?
I spent 7 tokens getting through this one. And if Jordan mentioned score, so just for Jordan, I'll tell you my score. I ended with 6,396,106.
A ridiculous number. I didn't even look at the score, but that's so high.
Yeah, they get pretty out of control.
All right, Jordan, what about you?
So, unfortunately, I'm just going to barely lose out the Sky here. My second playthrough, I dropped it from 13 on the first one to 8 credits on the second playthrough.
Ooh,
And
nice.
as I've noticed with a lot of these games, the fewer tokens you do, the lower your score is. So I guess you're just killing fewer enemies that way. So just for funsies, my final score for that better playthrough was 5,687,807. But of course, part we care about here, 8 tokens.
All right. And mine, I played this 3 times. First, my initial run, I did it in 9. And then once I tried to do a little better, once I understood everything, I got it down to 6. And then I played it today just before we recorded just to refresh on it, and I actually got down to 5. So that was my...
Nice, man.
Very nice.
All right, well, that's it for our credits. We'll move into our personal ratings for the game. This one might be one of our more ridiculous numbers, but it's a good one.
Uh-oh.
In 2011, I don't know if it was one of the authors, one guy that wrote it, I don't know who it was, but someone dealing with the Punisher announced that the total amount of people the Punisher has killed up until that point was 48,502.
Wow.
That's how many confirmed kills he has. That was in
Interesting.
2011. So since then, there's been even more content, so I'm sure it's even higher than that now.
And that dude never got arrested for all those 48,000 kills.
I suppose not.
They never
can't
caught
catch a
him.
U.S. Marine.
Couldn't catch a guy that killed 48,000 people. Jeez.
If he's just a normal human himself, I'm more impressed that he's been able to kill that many and not been killed himself.
It is impressive. Well, it's a pretty big number. I don't know if you guys are having trouble figuring it out, but I'll start off first. Give you guys a chance to figure out what percentage you want to give it with that big number. But I'm going with 43,503. I gave it a pretty good score. I really like this just because some beat 'em ups get really stale and they kind of drag on. I feel like this kind of went fast, even though it wasn't super short, but it didn't drag or anything. The combat was so fast and fluid that I really enjoyed most of the battles and stuff. And they varied the gameplay with the melee, and then you get the unlimited range and all the different weapons and stuff. So yeah, this was one of the better beat 'em ups I played.
Yeah, I mean, as for me, this was fantastic. I loved this game. I could easily go play this game again right now and have fun with it. You guys know I'm much more of a beat 'em up guy than a platformer or anything else that we sometimes do. And this is definitely one of my favorite beat 'em ups I've ever played. It definitely is on that same kind of level as Turtles for me, but without the nostalgia.
Really?
But I mean, as I said, yeah, I mean, I feel like this game feels just as fun as that. Just I don't have the nostalgia for it, but still, it's so much fun to play. I think it plays very well. I think it looks great, sounds great. I don't have very many bad things to say about the game at all, really. Maybe just a few nitpicks, but that's it. So I'm gonna give it 46,076.
Woo! That
Nice.
is a high score.
Justified. I thought this was a great game too.
Nicely done.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
I'll make this short and sweet. I'm gonna slap this one with a 36,000. I mean, you guys know beat 'em ups aren't really my style, but as far as beat 'em ups go, this one didn't take that long. There was a lot of variety of weapons, decent amount of enemies. Getting through the stages was kind of cool, like we said, about the way he navigates through, like breaking walls and whatever, just getting through different ways and not being stuck on one scenery for too long. The only kind of drawback for me was I just thought the bosses were all kind of meh. Like they all kind of seem like you could kind of deal with them the same way that you dealt with all the enemies in the game, just by kind of spamming on them or putting them into a corner. You know what I mean? Just doing weird things. The last boss, Kingpin, was obviously kind of disappointing, but other than the bosses, I thought everything else was pretty decent for a beat 'em up.
All right, Scott, leaves you.
Kind of crazy because I was also going with the 36,000 on this one.
Okay.
Well, there it is.
The first thing, obviously, pixel graphics. I love them, so it's awesome in the visuals. Like Kyle said, it's not super long game. The more I play these kind of games, the more I realize I'm not really into beat 'em ups like I used to be. It's just not my style of game really anymore. Most of them are basically kind of just the same formula, so it's got to be something super unique for me to actually like it a lot. I thought the stage transitions were pretty cool, how you're just busting through everything, pretty much how the Punisher does. He doesn't use doors, so... yeah, the bosses, I feel like beat 'em ups, for me, for it to stand out, you gotta have, very unique bosses. You can't use the same strategy for every single one, or it just gets kind of boring. It just felt like a slightly, maybe a little bit beefed up Streets of Rage kind of style game. But the one thing I did like was the only one I played like this was the attack speed. If you hit the button, as fast as you can hit it, that's how fast you're punching guys. So you can't get screwed over by a long animation or whatever, or get stun locked really. So if anybody, I know Kyle has, I think Brad has played Dungeon Fighter Online.
Oh yeah.
Anyone else out there has played that or heard of it? I kind of felt like I was playing the monk class, just punching a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah, it's not a bad game. It's just beat 'em ups aren't really my kind of style these days. That's all right though.
Yeah, I'm not too big on beat 'em ups either, but I enjoyed this one just because of how fast paced it was and stuff. All the things we've already said, not to keep repeating it, but yeah, this was one of the better beat 'em ups, I thought.
As the beat 'em up guy of the group, this definitely was one of the better ones.
Well, let's see how it fares against the rest of the games we have played then. We will rank this among all of the games we've played for the podcast. Where should we put the Punisher?
I'll let you guys go first. You know I'm pretty high.
I'm pretty high on this as well, so.
I'm thinking I'm gonna start it off and throw it at for me it's like around 13 or something.
Wow. That feels really low.
I usually put this in the top 10.
Yeah, I was like 6-ish personally.
It's in the same style as Shadow Force, and Shadow Force is pretty varied. I feel like Shadow Force had more going for it.
I mean, Shadow Force
So
did
this
have a
felt
lot going
way
on.
more enjoyable than Shadow Force.
Same, yes. Shadow Force was kind of slowish compared to this. I don't know, sometimes less is more with these beat 'em ups, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think this is way more on the tier of like the Dungeons and Dragons and TMNT.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I actually agree with Jordan on that one.
Oh, really?
I mean, I definitely think this is better than Turtles, but I don't think it's like I think Turtles, in my opinion, Turtles is too high on the list. So I don't want to put this above Turtles and make it also high. But like I'm thinking like somewhere around 8 or 9. Like I think it's above Joe and Mac for sure.
Yeah.
I could see it being at 9. I could agree on that.
Yeah, I'm about 6 personally. Like I said, this game is gameplay wise, it's pretty even to Turtles for me. Turtles just has the nostalgia. So like that's definitely above it, but I think they're like right there with each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna go bold here. I honestly think this is number 4. I think this bumps the other beat 'em ups. This is my favorite beat 'em up we played.
It's definitely my favorite beat 'em up. I can agree with that. I just think some of these other things are too high on the list. So
like I think it also comes down to like a style preference. Like I would prefer a game like Outzone to a beat 'em up. So for me, it doesn't go above Outzone.
Outzone's difficulty just really ruined it for me, man.
Yeah, I loved Outzone as well. I mean, it is kind of hard to compare cross genres like this, but I don't know. I still think it's a top
just going
game.
strictly off what I would rather play at. Like I would rather play out a game like Outzone than a game like this.
yeah, I'm pretty much on that same. Yeah, the list is just kind of weird because they're different genres of games, but
Now, I know that Sky and Brad especially were pretty upset with where Outzone landed, so I'd be okay bumping this one to maybe 8, right below Outzone, and like not fighting that to kind of make up for it a little bit.
I mean, I can agree on 8.
It lands where it lands. I mean, you don't gotta think you owe anybody favors or anything, man. It's if it ends up at 4 somehow, then it ends up at 4. Whatever.
I mean, Sky and Kyle both said about you'd rather play Outzone than this. Is that solely what you're basing your ranking off of? Just what you would rather play?
Well, mine's off of like I would definitely rather play Outzone, but like for me, this is better than Turtles. So it's like in that sense, it would go above Turtles, but then putting it above Turtles also puts it above Outzone and Bucky, which I don't think it, in my eyes, should be above either of those two. So just the way the list ended up, I think.
Okay.
And also just kind of, for me, like a little bit like just uniqueness. Like this it's a faster paced beat 'em up, but it's really kind of like a standard beat 'em up in this, you know what I mean, at the same time. It doesn't really do anything that other beat 'em ups don't do.
It felt a little different to me for some reason. Something about it was more engaging, and I think just the speed that it plays at.
It was more fast paced for sure.
It just feels good. Like it is fairly standard. It just, I don't know. I can't explain it. It just feels good.
All right, I'll put it at number 5, but you got to bump Turtles down.
Whoa, calm down.
It has to go above Turtles. If it's going up anywhere, if it's going up, it's going above Turtles because it's better than
You're
Turtles.
getting too feisty. How about we put it at number 1 above Alien Syndrome?
Whoa! Hold on, pause the episode, boys. Turn off Audacity, stop recording. We gotta talk.
That's what I can't believe. I can't help but feel I'm not actually arguing that. That's a joke. But I just like a thought. I can't help but feel like if we would have done Alien Syndrome now instead of before, it wouldn't have gotten as high as it did.
I don't know.
It's possible. Like, who knows? I can't say that for sure, obviously, but that's beside the point. That's not what we're here to talk about.
That is something to think about, though.
Jordan always got to jab that Alien Syndrome, man.
wasn't my game.
All right, so for the ranking, Kyle said if it goes above Bucky O'Hare, it has to go above Turtles. So what'll...
I don't want that.
Okay, so it's not going above either of them. So we're saying the highest this is getting, somewhere between 7 and 8. Is it bump Out Zone or is it bump Mazinger?
So if it can't go up to bump Turtles, then
It's got to go under
if it's coming
Bucky.
down, it's got to go under Out Zone. So it's got to be 8 for me.
I mean, it could just be up to the four of us who prefers this compared to Outzone, and I imagine that's probably maybe 3-1. I feel like you guys probably all would prefer Outzone, and I would prefer the Punisher, but
I would actually put Punisher above this for some reason. I really like this game.
above Outzone.
Yeah,
Nice.
I would.
So it's 2v2. I would love it at 7, but
I feel like it's going to be hard to find another beat 'em up that I enjoyed this much.
that's fair.
I'm not going to fight too hard, but yeah, I think either 7 or 8 is fine with it, though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight. Like I said, I feel like I kind of owe you guys the Outzone bump, but
So we're thinking right under Out Zone, maybe?
I won't fight it.
That's close enough. I mean, it's in the top 10, so it's kind of hard to break into there.
It's only 2 spots below where I said I wanted it, so I'm okay with it.
All right, we'll call it there then. We got Bucky O'Hare at 6, Out Zone at 7, Punisher at 8, Mazinger at 9.
I like it.
And that
Okay,
wraps
I can deal with
up
that.
Works for me.
another week of rankings. Jordan, let's hear some trivia.
Oh, I was supposed to do trivia?
I think.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. We got it. We're ready to go. Let's hop into trivia, boys
Damn it.
and girls.
Damn it, Jordan.
God damn it, Bobby.
You did it again, dumbass.
Oh, I was going King. I don't know why I went King of the Hill. You were stuck with Beavis and Butthead again, but
Hey, King of the Hill started on Beavis and Butthead.
both great shows. We should get together and watch them. Anyway, let's do some trivia for The Punisher. Scores for trivia right now. We have Brad at 37. Sky's leading the way at 46. I don't know why I say it in this order, but whatever. And Kyle has 32. Let's hop on into question number 1. The Sega Genesis port of The Punisher had many minor changes. They kind of like made it more PG. They took away like their cigarettes and some of the blood and all that. Anyway, Sega Genesis version had many minor changes, including changing the appearance of one boss entirely. Which boss was changed? A, the Guardroid, B, Bonebreaker, or C, Bushwhacker? Conveniently, probably the 3 bosses we talked about the most.
Hmm.
I'll go with the Bushwhacker.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Probably not him, because he's a simple character, but I'm going to go with him anyways.
Okay. Sky, same thing.
Yeah, I think Bushwhacker.
Kyle?
I don't know. I'm going. Wait, which one was Bonebreaker?
B.
The tank one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
The correct answer is A, the Guardroid.
Really?
What?
Sorry, boys. Yep, I actually looked it up. He is almost like alien looking. I'll have to send it to you guys whenever we're done here. Question number 2. When controlling Punisher, on the continue screen, there's someone performing CPR on Punisher while the game awaits another coin. What is the name of this person? A, David Lieberman. B, Alexander Pierce. C, Kathleen Neville.
And none of these names mean anything to me, so I'll just say B, whatever that was.
Alexander Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce sounds like a name they would make. I'm going to go with Pierce.
I'm going
Okay.
David Lieberman.
Correct answer is A, David Lieberman.
Nice.
So, actually, if you control Nick Fury, you get a different screen. Same thing, you're still getting CPR, but there are 2 people on that screen, and those are the other 2 names, Alexander Pierce and Kathleen Neville. So all 3 of them are on the game over screen, but the one specifically for Punisher that we were looking for was David Lieberman.
Sweet.
Question
Tricky.
number... I made sure, at least I wasn't making up names. That's what I cared about.
That was a solid question.
Sometimes it gets
Yeah.
tricky.
I always like your made up names.
And you would think Rock Hardy was a made up one, but nope, that one was legit as it gets. Question number 3. Scully, the boss of stage 1, is the last name of this character. What is his first name? A, Chester. B, David. C, Nicholas.
He sounds like a David Scully to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Dave Scully.
All right.
What was the first one?
Chester.
That doesn't sound right, but we're going to go for it. We're going to go Chester Scully.
All right, boys. Well, this was not the greatest week for trivia. The correct answer was A, Chester, meaning Brad gets 1 correct, Kyle gets 1 correct, and our leader, Sky, is going to get 0 today.
Ooh,
So, Brad,
dropping
you're
the
at
ball.
38. Kyle, you're at 33. Sky's still at 46.
I guess you could say trivia punished me this week.
Wow.
Oh, Sky, go home. Everybody, I'm done. Sign off. See ya.
Oh yeah, one thing I wasn't sure was going to count with trivia, but did you guys know that the Punisher originated in Spider-Man as a Spider-Man villain?
Spider-Man.
No,
Nope.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I read about that. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. Then they spun him off into his own thing, but I guess that's where he started out. He was a villain for Spider-Man. I think people liked him, and they spun him out into his own thing.
So he was an actual bad guy. He wasn't like an anti-hero.
Correct.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I thought
I
that
did
might
not
have came
know.
up. So I was like, I don't want to say it just in case to ruin a question and make you have to find another one because you're scrambling there in the beginning. So
Oh yeah, I hate whenever I'm scrambling. It's the worst. Appreciate
all
that.
good. We got through it.
All right, boys. This is the last chance you're gonna get. If you want to say anything else about the Punisher, if you want to say anything about Fatty Kingpin, if you want to say anything else about Beavis and Butthead, go ahead and do it.
No, we're
We
good.
are good.
Anyway, next time on Arcadiology, we have Gauntlet. You can follow us on all social media at Arcadiology. You can email us questions at arcadiologyquestions@gmail.com, as well as use the link in the podcast bio to ask us questions. You can join our free Discord. And also, we'd appreciate it if you left us a 5-star review. We might read it on the air if you do.
He had to bring that back.
I forgot about that one.
It's never going away now, boys. Go ahead and say goodbye.
See ya.
Oh, later, fat boys.
Later, dude.
Insert the closing line here. See you next time.